So what we're going to start with, we're going to do a little presentation with me and Jack, and talking about V3 power and Tripalium and TO and how our models work, which are fairly similar in the US and the UK. And then we're going to have Luciana, who's going to talk about technical schools in Argentina, and Benoit, who's going to do a short presentation on education around small wind energy in the middle and high school levels. And then we're going to have a little roundtable or a panel discussion with Fidel, Pete, and Kostas, and really talk about how we can start doing more and more research projects and how we can exchange research projects with different universities. So how we can get some of these students that are really excited about renewable energy to share some of the ideas with us, because a lot of these projects get done and then get put in a drawer somewhere and get forgotten. And we've got a couple of posters that are going to be here tomorrow. Well, we're going to be in Rafina tomorrow. And that's going to be with Tom, who has a presentation on the wind turbine that they built with the student project. And Jonathan, who's going to be talking about a poster about his activities in Austria. So, well, why don't we get started with myself and Jack, who are going to be...
So, I'm from a company called V3 Power based in the UK, and in a moment I'm going to talk about how we're structured and how we work and how we make our money. But first of all, just a brief overview of what we do. Wind turbine courses make up about 2/3 of our work. The other third is made, we do events, providing power for events, festivals and other things like that. And also doing activities like bicycle generators and things like that. So that makes up about 1/3 of our work. And then the other 2/3 is running courses. But for the primary focus of education, as Andy mentioned yesterday, it's quite hard to install wind turbines in the UK. So most of what we offer is teaching people the skills of woodwork and metalwork and sort of. Yeah, that education element is more important for us than the making the electricity for people, because that's the reality of the situation in the UK. There's about 10 of us, roughly, who, since 2006 when we started, who taught on our courses. Currently there's about five of us who sort of regularly teach on the courses, but because there's been sort of 10 or 12 people over the years who've taught on the courses, we can call on people if we need them. Initially, at the beginning, when we first started running courses, when Tom and Aaron sort of got excited about the idea and started doing them, we mostly did them with members of the public in the UK. For very little money, in a very haphazard way. But then over the years, we've sort of got a bit more organised and have started doing more of our courses at universities rather than for the public. Because we found that we were able to make a bit more money doing them at the universities. So, with regards to how we're structured, we are a workers' cooperative, which means that we're registered as a private company in the UK, but in our constitution, we define ourselves and we say that we have to be a cooperative, so we're owned equally by all our directors and we all have an equal say in how the company's run, and we're all non-hierarchical. And how we used to pay ourselves was any work that we would do for the company, we would make a note of how much time we spent on it, whether it was admin or teaching or doing preparation, and then we would times the number of hours that we worked by the minimum wage, and then we would pay ourselves that amount of money. We are now currently going to move away from that model because it's hard to budget for that, because it's hard to sort of plan your business if you're not quite sure how much money you're going to need to spend on wages. So our new way is that there's one administrator, which is me, and it's my job to basically keep the wheels running, so doing all the admin and basically sort of running the business, but then our other bits of work that need to be done is average about 4 days a month. So if, because I'm not a technical expert, whereas Tom and Aaron might be, so if I'm organising a course with someone and the people who are organising a course with in university, they want to talk to one of our technical experts, then I'll talk to Tom or Aaron. So that is factored into 4 days a month, depending on projects. And yeah, so then the other workers are paid day rates for the days they work, depending on project. And as I said, they're easier to plan for because we know that in order to run the business, we just need to have one administrator for this week. We're all self-employed, and we all have other sources of income. Doing V3 is only a part-time job for us. So we all do have other areas of work in our lives where we get other money from. So that's how we're structured. If anyone's interested in talking to me about that, we can talk about it later. And over to Jay.
Okay, well, we have two structures in France, so it's kind of a system that's a little bit different. We've got the company, which is Thiel, which is my company, which I set up in 2007. And we've got the association Tripalium, which is set up around the same time. Over the last couple of years, we've sold over 3,000 manuals. So it means there's a large core group of people that are interested in small wind. If you bought a manual, you're probably interested in buying a wind turbine.
All of them French. All of them are French.
All in French, for the French market. We've had over 1,000 participants in courses. So over the past couple of years, we've had, how many courses? I don't know, 60, 80, something like that. We've got 30 trainers, or people that are leading training courses. And sometimes, maybe last year, you got 10 people that participated on training courses as trainers. And that fluctuates each year, but we have an annual meeting every year for 1 week where we get together with all the people that are interested in becoming trainers or are trainers and have a good party and do wind stuff. We've got 200 what we call builders. Those are people that are making wind turbines. And we've got a machine somewhere in some position of being finished or being advanced. About 120 machines running and another 30 that are broken. Or they're finished and not installed. Sometimes they're just sitting in your garage. So one of the goals of the association is trying to figure out how to get these machines that are installed. We can see sort of the progression. You have to say that 2014, 15, and 16 are what we're looking at, maybe. So you've got the courses that are done by Thiel as a company, or the blue ones, which are done by Tripalium. Thiel and Tripalium are actually the same, but you've got other people that aren't part of Thiel organizing courses. That's in blue, and that's developing really well. With even underestimated in 2014, I think there were probably 7 or 8 courses that were done. And then individuals building their own wind turbines, which is our other part. That we want people that they buy the book or they take the course and they go back home and they build a wind turbine by themselves. And so that's slowly developing as well.
So as I said earlier, most of our courses at the moment are with universities, so I'll talk a bit about that, and then Jay's going to talk about the courses that they run for the public. Recently we've been doing about 4 a year university courses. We're hoping to do more, maybe about 8 is what we'd sort of like to be doing per year. And there's two different groups in the universities that we work with. One is Engineers Without Borders groups, which most of you I'm sure are aware of. So that's student groups. And the other one is university departments, so it might be the engineering department. So that's the lecturers and the professors and stuff that we're working with. And how do we get this work? Generally, with EWB, it's just we'll get an email from a student from the EWB group. We'll say, we've heard that you do this thing, sounds good, can you come do it with us? But with the departments, we generally approach them, so we will email the engineering departments or the renewable energy department in the universities and say, we do this thing, it's really good, let us come and do it with you. Both of these, on average, take about a year to make happen from first contact to actually doing the course. Some of them take more time than that, some of them take less time, but generally that's about how long it takes. The positives of working with the departments, so the lecturers and stuff, well, we work with lecturers to arrange a course for the students that are the students of that lecturer. And the positives of that for us is that we don't have to hold their hands through funding, whereas EWE groups may not have so much money, so we would have to work with the groups to get them money to pay us. With the departments, they just generally, they pay us, and that's that. And also because they're adults who live in the world, even though that world is the university, they're used to communicating and getting things done, so it's, you can generally organise things quite easily, whereas with the students, they're not so used to organising projects, so they're often harder to communicate with. And yeah, but the positive side is that the EWE students are generally more interested and excited by the project. So once you've gone through the harder process of making it happen by fiddling around with money and emails, when you're actually doing the course, it's more fun to teach them. And then again, because of the fact there isn't so many places to install them in the UK, there's the problem of these homeless turbines, which we have, which we would like to hear your ideas about. But yeah, that's the university.
Also, sorry, slide with lots of text, but we do lots of organizing for adult courses. We do some university courses, but most of our work is doing once a month or twice a month. We've got, with the association, there's a training course somewhere in France. Usually with these courses, we start by finding a site with somebody that wants a wind turbine. So somebody will contact us and send us an email, or we'll go visit them, and we'll say, hey, that's a great place to put a wind turbine. So, okay, how are we going to do this? And when we're looking at that as well, we're trying to find somebody that also is interesting to work with. And you have to remember when you're putting up a wind turbine, this is sort of a lifelong relation that you're building with somebody. You're going to be spending a lot of time with them for the next 20, 30 years. Sometimes if you don't like the person, just say no. Then advertise the training course, and the problem is advertising is really difficult. That's why university courses are great, student groups are great. Somebody that calls you up and says, hey, yeah, I've got 20 people, we want to do a course. Well, it's not always that easy. So usually what we do is we talk to a couple of local newspapers. We try to get the person also to advertise locally, and then we advertise nationally with the association with Tripalium. Sometimes radios as well. Sometimes we had a couple of good articles as well on the radio. Good emissions on the radio. Then afterwards, be organized. When you're doing a training course, I remember the first course I did in 2004. I think I was there for about half of the course. The other half, I was out looking for material. So now when you show up to a site, you show up, everything's ready, you've got everything there, and you build a turbine. And that works really good. It's always better to have a couple of things too much than be missing. Oh shoot, that'd be really great if we had a bandsaw. A jigsaw. So here a little bit about running that course.
Yeah, we had a little bit of a chat before we came to the conference, Jay and I on Skype, and we generally how we run the courses is the same or similar, and well, between 6 and 16 participants, 2 to 4 teachers, 3 to 6 days. That's generally with just to build a turbine, and at the end of the course, either the turbine goes in a cupboard, or with Jay's model, it goes on a, it goes on a tablet that you put up before the course. I'm sure most of you have probably been on a course before, so I don't need to talk too much about it, but split into the different working areas, which is the woodwork, metalwork, alternator, and electrical system. And this is just something that, one of the things that, like I mentioned earlier about the education aspect, is that, for students and also for the public when they come on courses, is that quite often doing, like, none of these people have ever used a welder before or an angle grinder or things like that. So that's quite exciting. And something about the groups is we assign people groups, so they will stay the same 4 people and work on the different elements of build throughout the course, whereas with J, they can just go wherever they feel the most interested. Yeah.
And one other thing that we've tried to do, and one of our points is creating more people doing training courses and having people become teachers or have people become more to understand and master the technology, is that we invite people to come back free. So if you've done a course, you come back to a second, you come back to a third, usually we'll put you to work. We say, hey, well, you already did a course. You know how blades work, right? So you're going to explain to people how blades work. And so...
And you go to get the coffee.
Oh yeah, go get the coffee and drink the plates. Well, no, but the idea is that we want to get more and more people doing training courses. We're trying to compete and to create competition for us, because the problem is we don't think there are enough wind turbines, and it's kind of cool having competition, and it makes you work harder. Okay, and one of the most important things I think about our courses is explaining to people how things work. And what I like to try to do is we start by explaining to people something. So you explain how it works. And so you explain, you give a little talk, you show a little film. Then afterwards, you work with them, they build it. And so they're starting to build the thing. And then afterwards, we ask boys, we go do a tour of the workshop. And we ask everybody to tell us what you're doing. And so I don't explain anymore. So